Live from WTOC, the Southeast news leader. The News Now starts on WTOC+.
We start with breaking news here on WTOC+. We've just learned that an arrest has been made after the fatal shooting at the Fraser Homes over the weekend. Savannah police arrested 36-year-old John Coleman today in connection with that deadly shooting. It happened on West Gwinnett Street around 6:20 p.m. on Sunday night. When police officers arrived, they found an adult male victim who was outside of a home suffering from gunshot wounds. Life-saving measures were attempted on scene, but that man ultimately succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced dead on scene. Coleman has been charged with murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. Well, we would like to wish you all a happy new year here from WTOC. And as we get ready to ring in 2026, there are some new state laws that start tomorrow that we'd like y'all to know about. First, Georgia's flat state income tax will decrease again. It's part of a plan to get it under 5% by 2027. Second, a new law will let Georgians create a catastrophe savings account. It gives families a way to save for natural disasters without being taxed. And you may need to be more careful about where you park. Private property owners are now allowed to boot trespassing cars in cities that allow it. Property owners must post warnings. We do have a full breakdown of all the new laws taking effect. That's on our website at WTOC.com. Also tomorrow, there's a new America First license plate you could get for your car starting tomorrow. It has an American flag on it to mark the country's 250th birthday next year. It's $90 and then $55 to renew, compared to the standard $20 renewal rate. Republican State Senator Steve Gooch, who's also running for lieutenant governor next year, sponsored the bill, and he says it's a way to show support for President Donald Trump. All right, well, we'd like to take a live look now at Times Square on your right, where preparations are happening not just in New York, but around the world for New Year's Day at the stroke of midnight. Australia's Sydney Harbour is set to have its largest police presence ever for today's celebrations, with residents still on edge after this month's deadly Bondi Beach terror attack. Major cities around the U.S. are also stepping up security. The National Guard was deployed to New Orleans 1 year after that car attack on the city's famed Bourbon Street. In New York, the iconic crystal ball will drop twice for the first time ever to ring in a very special occasion. CBS's Kamal Afzali has the latest from London.
New York's Times Square is pulling out all the stops for tonight's iconic crystal ball drop, set to fall twice to usher in America's 250th anniversary year.
We are going to have the most confetti ever, red, white, and blue.
Thousands of police officers will be on the ground, with more than 1 million people expected to brave the cold to celebrate in person.
We're going to do our part. We need you to do your part. If you see something, say something.
National Guard troops have been deployed to New Orleans' historic Bourbon Street, 1 year after a man drove his truck through a crowd of revelers there, killing 14 people.
We feel a lot safer having them here.
In Australia's Sydney Harbour, early arrivals could snag the best view of the fireworks show. Officials there say 2,500 police officers will patrol the festivities, the most ever, more than 2 weeks after 15 people were gunned down during a Hanukkah event at Bondi Beach.
We need to show defiance in the face of this evil, and the best way of doing that is to spend some time with your friends and your family on New Year's Eve.
Clockmakers in London are fine-tuning the mechanics of Big Ben.
As it gets closer and closer, we do hourly time checks just to make sure that the clock is as close to proper time as we can get it.
To ensure the nearly 200-year-old landmark chimes right at the stroke of midnight to ring in the new year. Kamal Afzali, CBS News, London.
And as you get ready to ring in the new year tonight, safety is key. The U.S. Product Safety Commission, says that more than 1,400 people were injured by fireworks just last year. That's why the Savannah Police Department wants to remind families to play it safe wherever you celebrate. Last year, more than 35,000 people celebrated and watched fireworks along Savannah's riverfront. Some people like to use fireworks at home, and at the same time, remember, no illegal gunfire. Firing off a gun to celebrate could mean dealing with a citation for the new year.
I've been with Savannah Police Department for 10 New Year's Eves. The times that I've worked downtown, you see the fireworks, but you should also be just watching the area just to make sure that everybody's continuing to have fun and that there's nothing wrong going on. And sometimes there's some celebratory firearm shooting going on. I've not written any citations as far as that goes, but could happen.
Savannah police also remind pet owners to bring their animals inside if they're frightened by loud booms. Drivers should also keep an eye out for pedestrians on the streets late at night. Turning now to health news, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says Georgia's flu activity is in the very high category. Children's Healthcare of Atlanta released a statement saying last week they tested nearly 1,200 patients, and half of them with respiratory symptoms had the flu. Owner of Kid Care Pediatrics, Dr. Helena Bentley, says she's seeing more kids sicker than previous years and says this is why.
The climate that we're in, we increase in the non-vaxxers in this country. And when we increase non-vaxxers, we're not taking into the account of all of these things that can rapidly spread among our population.
Dr. Bentley says the flu's subclass strains, meaning mutations of the virus, may add more cases. She says vaccinations are still critical because it can decrease the severity of the illness as well as how long you're actually sick. Georgia is set to receive more than $218 million in the first year of a new federal rural health transformation program. While state leaders say it could reshape healthcare, doctors fear it may already be too late. 9 rural Georgia hospitals have closed since 2010. At a South Georgia clinic on the Alabama border, people have to drive 30 minutes to an hour just to see a doctor. And that doctor is the only one left in her county. At 70 years old, she's working 12-hour days. She worries the plan's not sustainable and won't solve the rural healthcare crisis.
Drop-in telehealth pods. I guess that's a do-it-yourself ER, self-service ER. They're developing health transportation networks, but there's no funding to continue to pay the transportation. There's funds for recruiting nurses, but no money to actually pay the nurses once you recruited them.
Critics of the program also worry it won't be enough because of Medicaid cuts and Affordable Care Act subsidies that expire tomorrow. And moving up to the Low Country, the South Carolina Department of Public Health is reporting 20 new measles cases in the upstate, bringing the state's total outbreak to 176 cases. Officials say new cases stem from household, school, and church exposures, while several residents remain under investigation. Nearly 300 people are currently in quarantine in South Carolina, with the latest expected to end January 21st. 3 patients, both adults and children, have been hospitalized with complications related to the measles.
It can spread through respiratory secretions. Somebody can cough. You can be in the same room. It takes a very low inoculum, meaning just a few particles of measles will infect somebody.
Health leaders warn measles is contagious even before a rash appears, and they urge anyone who might have been exposed to notify a healthcare provider before seeking treatment. The South Carolina DPH says staying home while sick or in quarantine is critical to slowing the measles spread. Turning now to sports news. Tomorrow night, the Dogs hit the field. Georgia and Ole Miss are going head-to-head in the Sugar Bowl. It's the second straight year UGA's headed to New Orleans. The Dogs are learning from last year inside the Superdome and hoping to avoid another loss in the Big Easy.
So, you got a lot of players, experienced players in this game, and I feel like experience plays a long way in bowl games like this. Because, a lot of players be new to things like this, so we got a lot of experience, so we know what to expect, and I feel like our leaders are going to do a great job of making sure everybody in the right headspace and making sure everybody focuses on the game and not just being down here. Because last year we did the same thing. We already came down here, so now this year I feel like it's just a business trip. Like, let's go down here and just handle business.
The Savannah Ghost Pirates are set to return after the Professional Hockey Players Association announced its ECHL membership has ratified a new 5-year collective bargaining agreement. The new agreement will run through the 2029-2030 season, ending a labor dispute that led to 28 game postponements across the league, including multiple Savannah Ghost Pirates games. The ratification follows a tentative agreement announced over the weekend between the ECHL and the Players Association. All right, well, this has been getting a whole lot of attention on social media over the week. Monks for Peace continue their walk through Georgia today, spreading their message of hope and unity with every step toward Washington, D.C. Just yesterday, they made their way through to Qatar, where state and local officials welcomed them. The 2,300-mile journey for the 19 monks and their beloved rescue dog, Aloka, began in Texas in late October. They entered Georgia on Saturday to warm receptions in Meriwether and Troup County. They continued with a stop in Clayton County on Monday. The Walk for Peace is drawing larger and larger crowds at each stop, including at the Beacon Municipal Complex in Decatur. The monks led the crowd in a spiritual chant with local leaders in attendance. The journey to this point has been far from easy, with 2 monks being injured along the way. But they say it's well worth it, all in an effort to encourage peace.
We should spread love and kindness and compassion to the universe so that all beings can receive it equally. No hatred. Imagine within this rally, if this group of monks come here with full of hatred, will you be able to stand here? No.
Their journey through Georgia continues today, with the monks expected to pass through Athens on their way to Washington, D.C. Well, this morning, the last print edition of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution is released after 157 years. Joshua Skinner, with our sister station in Atlanta, pulled an all-nighter to get a look at the final day of deliveries.
It's just another day at the office for Atlanta Journal-Constitution delivery man David Neely.
Oh, yeah.
Rolling, bagging, and tagging.
This place is a lot like a casino. There's no clocks.
But in a way, there are. Because after 157 years, time has run out on the AJC's print edition.
The last headline, what is the future of local media in Atlanta?
It's more than the end of an era, it's the end of a lifestyle. After all, the paper began its print run in 1868, the same year President Andrew Johnson was impeached. David has been here for the last 37, bagging and delivering dailies and watching everything shrink.
And I remember when Westchester basically was a route on its own, pretty much the whole neighborhood. Now I go in there and throw maybe 10 papers.
And he'll miss what a paper can do that a screen cannot.
Instead of click, flip, click, flip, click, flip, it's just more warm, personal.
But he also knows times change. Everything is going digital. I followed David on his final deliveries.
So here we go. We'll go around the corner here and start dropping papers.
He knows these neighborhoods well.
The foyer in there's got to be 3 stories.
As he hits each house one final time, the quirks of tossing a paper brick come back.
I hit this elderly lady in her driveway, didn't see her.
The job goes from roughly 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., 7 days per week.
And some days you have to stop and take a nap.
And David will be glad to get more sleep.
A couple of years ago, it's the last time I actually had a day off.
But there's also a sadness here in what feels like losing a friend.
Yeah, I figured we had another year.
But clocks or not, time doesn't stop, even for the news.
There it is.
In Roswell.
Done.
Joshua Skinner, Atlanta News First.
All right, that was bittersweet. Finally, to wrap things up, if you want to start off the 2026 with a splash, you can join in on the Tybee Polar Plunge happening tomorrow. It's the 26th annual Polar Plunge, and it's fun for the whole family. The event kicks off at 10:30 tomorrow morning with the Gang of Goofs costume contest and parade. Then at noon, it's time to take the plunge as brave participants run into the Atlantic Ocean. Looks like a lot of fun. It's all happening just off the Tybee Pier. And with that, we are going to wrap things up here for the news on WTOC Plus. We'd like to wish you all a Happy New Year. We'll be back in just about 40 minutes with a look at your New Year's Eve forecast if you're planning on heading out tonight or this evening. Of course, it was very cold this morning. It sounds like temps will dip a little bit compared to last night, but still pretty chilly, so make sure you layer up a little bit. But Andrew Gordon will join us to break all that down in just about 40 minutes. And in the meantime, for the latest updates, you can always head on over to our website at WTOC.com. Thanks for watching, and here's Local News Live.